Hi, Tim Unker here. In this video, we're going to create a worksheet in both English and Spanish that has problems and solutions that's randomly generated with Python. We're going to use Emacs, which is a free and open source software solution, and we're going to use org mode in Emacs. And we're going to use a few packages, and I'll talk about them as we go, that are available through Emacs that allows us to do this rather easily. Okay, so the first thing that we want to do is we want to talk about what kind of problem we're going to create today. And when I was a math teacher, I did these mini SAT type problems to help students prepare for the actual SAT. Now, I focused mostly on 11th grade, but I did have some 10th graders in my classes, so there were 10th grade problems that I focused on as well. And one of the 10th grade problems that I focused on was the perimeter of a pool. Okay, and so I'm going to bring up a draw island and we'll talk about this problem a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to open this up and let me create a rectangle that represents our pool. And so the way the problem reads is something like, if the width of a pool is X yards and the length of the pool is 5 yards more than the width, what is the perimeter of the pool in terms of X? So basically what that is saying is, that we have some width here. We have some length here, which is the width plus 5 yards. And then the perimeter is the whole distance around. So again, the width is going to stay as X. The length is going to stay as X plus 5. So we have to add up all the sides to find the perimeter, right? So how many X's do we have? Well, we can count them. 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 4 X's. And then we have 5 plus 5, which is 10. So our perimeter of this pool would be 4x plus 10. That would be our solution to this problem. Okay, so we're going to create that type of problem. We're going to write it with Python. We're going to write it in English. Now, with this process, you can write it in basically pretty much any language that Google Translate supports, because this is going to be using Google Translate through Emacs. Okay, so but I'm going to write it in English because that's what I'm proficient in, and then I'm going to convert the output to Spanish, and we'll have an English and Spanish version for our worksheet for both the problems and the solutions. Okay. And at the end, I'll probably push this worksheet up to Teacher Pay Teachers in case you're interested. Okay. All right. So let's get started. So I'm going to open Emacs here. I have Emacs customized. It doesn't look like this when you first load it up. It's not a maximized window. It's a white theme, which is decent. It has a welcome message, which you can get rid of. I will leave a link to my current init EL in the description below, and which commit it is, because I tend to update it as I fool with it. So it's important, if you want this exact configuration, to go back to the exact commit of this video. Okay. I'm going to do type Alt-X, Meta-X, and then Dear Ed. That brings up the default file editor in Emacs. And I'm going to go down, and what I want to actually do is create a new folder, because I have this Python math folder that I've been using for these videos, but it's getting kind of full with a lot of stuff. So to create a new folder in Dear Ed, I just do Shift plus, and you'll see down here it says Create Directory. And I'm going to create a directory, and I'm going to call it English Spanish worksheets, because that's what we're doing. Okay, and I'm going to hit enter on that, and that's going to bring me into the directory. Now, I want to create a new file, and I'm going to call this pool problem .py. Okay, so I'm going to do Control X, Control F, and that's going to allow me to create a new file. And you'll see I got this prompt here to find the file. That means that's basically what it means when you're creating it. Okay, and I'm going to type now the name of the file, which was pool, and I'm going to do underscore problem.py for Python, because this is going to be a Python file that we'll start with, and we're going to use the Python file to generate two org files, one with the problems, one with the solutions, and then we're going to go to the org file, and I'll talk a little bit about the extensions I'm using to basically go out, take the stuff in the org file, and translate it into Spanish. Okay. All right, so I'm going to hit enter, and it's going to bring me to that file. Now I want to make this a little bit larger so you can see it. Now in Emacs, the way you do that is you do Control-Shift and then the plus equals key. And then, nope, you don't do that, sorry. You do Control-X and then Control-Shift plus. And then you'll see I have this note down here, use plus, minus, or 0 for further adjustment. So in case you're wondering, plus will increase it, minus will decrease the font size, and 0 will bring it back to the default that you have set in your init.el. Now, if you're familiar with a text editor like Vim or something like that, Vim, you have a Vim RC. That is stands for the Vim run commands when it loads up, RC run commands. Okay, the init.el is similar in that it tells the Emacs editor what packages to bring in and how to load up what theme. I have a Doom theme here. Naturally, as it being the Halloween month, it's a Doom theme. I believe I'm using Doom Pale Night. Anyways, so I want to increase this, so I'm going to just hit plus a few times, and that looks good to me. And now I'm going to insert, and we're going to create a Python class for our particular problem. The class is going to have some methods with it that we can use. The methods will get us the solution, and then I'm going to move out of the class. We're going to go through some for loops to create the problem. If you have a more efficient way of doing this, please comment in the comments below. I'll be interested to hear it. The advantage of creating a class, doing some object-oriented Python program, is that you import the class and then you import all the methods of the class into another Python file. And there's some other advantages as well, but that's one that I thought of right off the top of my head as I was talking. Okay, so anyways, I'm going to type class, and let's call this pool perimeter. I like to use names that kind of tell me what I'm making my video on. And I want to instantiate the class. Now, basically what this means is the class is going to take in some variables. And what I want to do is I want to, I basically want to be able to use those variables for each method in my class. So the way I do that is I type def. That's the way you declare a function or a method. In this case, a method is like a function inside of a class. And then I do 2 underscores init, and then to pass in the self. Okay, and then we got to think about what we want to pass in. So typically, we're probably going to be returning a string for our solution, okay? But really all we need, this is going to be a small class, I think. All we need is what we add to X. So let's call that additional value. I think that's all we're going to need. We might add something more as we go. So we'll do self.additional value. And I have autocomplete set on Emacs here. That's a package that you can get. All right, and then we'll have another method, and let's call that perimeter. And we're going to say that the perimeter addition, which is really what we want, the perimeter addition, so it's not really the perimeter that this function is figuring out, just throwing that out there, is going to equal self.additional value times 2. Now it's not really a huge class here, but whatever. And so we're going to return the perimeter addition, okay? All right, so that's going to be a very small class that we create. we know that the perimeter is going to be 4 times the x value plus this perimeter addition, okay, plus 2 times the additional value, basically is what this is saying. So it's very simple. Okay, so the other thing I want to do is I want to get some random numbers. There's a couple of ways to do this, but the way I've been doing lately is to import the random value and then to create a let me just do that, and then to create a random number list that I populate with a for loop. So I'm going to do that. So I'm going to create a random number list, random num list, and that's going to be an empty list to start. Okay, and actually when I'm going to do something here, I want to turn on a mode, so that way I don't have to type the closing. So I turned on electric pair mode. That's a mode in Emacs, so if I type a parentheses, it closes it for me. So it's kind of nice. All right, so we're going to do a for loop to populate this. And so I think we want just positive values. And so I'm going to say for x in range, let's start at 1 and go up to 20. And we want to go to 21 because it actually goes up to the number below the last number you specify. So we'll do 1 to 21. That'll give me numbers 1 through 20. We're going to take our random num list and we're going to append the x value. So the random num list after we run this for loop is going to be a list 1, 2, 3, 4, dot, 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 up to 20. Okay. So now what I want to do is I want to create some files to write to, because I mentioned we are going to be writing to org files. We're going to be using stuff in org mode to get our Spanish conversion. Okay. So I'm going to create a file. Let's call this pool underscore perimeter file dot nothing equals open and then let me move this up here so you guys can see what I'm doing. It's going to be pool dash perimeter dash file dot org, and then we'll have a comma and then in parentheses a, meaning we're appending to that file. Okay, and then we'll also have a pool underscore perimeter file underscore solution. That's going to be where our solutions go, and we're going to do a pool perimeter file dash sol.org, and the same thing we are going to append to it. Okay. And all right, so we've got our files that we've created. Now we want to run through the amount of problems that we want to have. So I'm going to start out with only 10 problems. Now, the cool thing about this is you can just change this for loop, change the number at the end, and get as many problems as you want generated in this method. So that's the, you'll see I'm posting worksheets on Teacher Pay Teachers that are 100 problems, 1,000 problems. I run the program, it takes a fraction of a second, and creates all this stuff. All right, so we're going to say for problem in range, we'll just do 1 to 11 because we have to go up one number above. Now we're going to start to create our problem. So we need if we go up to the top, we'll see we need this additional value. So we're going to need to generate that from our random number list. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to say additional value equals random.choice, and we're going to pass in the random number list. Okay. All right. So now we've got our additional value, and now we can, if we go up, look at the top again, we have this pool perimeter class. We can create an object with that. Okay. So we're going to create a new problem for each time through this loop, and it's going to equal the pool perimeter class passing in the additional value. Okay. All right. So So now we've got our new problem, and we can use that when we write out our solution. Okay. Cool. All right. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take our pool perimeter file and we're going to start writing some stuff to it. Okay. So we'll take our pool underscore perimeter file and we'll write some things to it. So we'll write in org mode, if we do 2 dots, or 2 stars, that's second level heading. So we can do that, and we're going to use a package that gives us a fancy kind of styling, and that will actually give us a number at this heading. Okay, so we're going to just do that, and then do a /n and a /n. So the slash is an escape character, n means new line, so it brings us down 2 lines. Okay, so that's a little bit of formatting. All right, so now we want to actually start to write out the problem. Okay, so we're going to do pool perimeter file dot write, and we're going to have to do an f string, and which is a format string that's available in, I believe, Python 3.6 and higher. So you'd have to do this a different way if you were using Python 2, for instance. But anyways, so we're going to use a format string, and what we're going to do is we are going to say if the width of the pool is x, if the width of a pool is, and I'm just going to use an escape character, bring it down to the next line, is x, and the length of the pool is, now we're going to pass in our variable, which is additional value, is x plus additional value, should be x plus is, no, actually, how are we going to word this? Is additional value yards. Yeah, we want to include our unit measure. So we'll do yards is additional value, and then we want to say yards, but I'm going to bring it down to the next line. Yards more than the width. What is the perimeter of the pool? Okay, and then 2 escape characters, bring it down. Okay, so that's our that's what we're going to write out in the file. And then at the end of each problem, what I want to do is take this pool perimeter file and write just 3 dashes like this. That's going to give us a little line between the problems, and then we'll do 2 escape characters again just for formatting. Okay, so we've written our problem out. All right, so now what we need to do is actually write our solutions out. Okay, so we're going to take our pool perimeter file underscore solutions, and we're going to write, again, we're going to start with the 2 little little stars there, and then /n/n to bring us down. Okay, and then now we want to get into our solution. So we're going to write to this file, and we're going to use an f string. We are going to write solution, and we'll do 4x, okay, plus, and let's escape down here just to do some nice formatting. Let's go up. So what's the method? Perimeter method. Okay, so we're going to go down here, and we're going to do pass in new problem dot perimeter, and it's a method, so we have to have the open and close parentheses after it, and then we want to keep our units. We're going to say yards. Okay, 4x plus whatever that value is, yards. Okay. All right, and we then want to put a period, and then a /n/n, and then we'll do pool underscore perimeter file underscore solution dot write. We're going to do the same thing at the end, 3 dashes just for that little line, then a /n/n for formatting. Okay, we're going to go out of here, and then we need to close these files. So we run, after they're all done running through the for loop, we need to take our pool perimeter file and close it. Use a method there, and then pool perimeter file underscore solution and close that. And now we need to save the file, which I just did. And we are ready to go to run it. So what we want to do is let's open up a terminal and run this file. Okay. And if we don't get any errors, it should generate those 2 org files. So let's just list out, pool problem.py. So to run it, I'm going to type Python 3 pool underscore problem.py and run it. And we've got a error, okay, in line 7. So let's exit out of that and check out our error. So we'll go back to dear ed and type G to just update it, okay, and then colon 7, which I can do to get, okay, perimeter, I got to pass in the self, okay, that's my error, okay. So now I fix that and save that, so let's run it. Hopefully we won't get any other errors. Let's just clear this out, go back, and we'll run it, and it's run. There's no errors. Now, if we list out the files, you'll notice that we have this. This is like a swap file that Emacs creates, but we also have the pool perimeter file solution.org and the pool perimeter file.org. Okay, cool. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to exit out of this and go back to dear ed, and to update, I just hit G, and that updates the files that are in this directory. And what I'm going to do now is go to poolperimeterfile.org and hit enter. And let's take a look at the formatting. Okay, so I want to move this a little bit down. So in the first one, if the width of the pool is X yards and the length of the pool is 1 yards more than the width, okay, we might want to do a parentheses S with that. What is the perimeter of the pool? So this should be 4x plus 2 for our first solution. This next one, if you look at it, we have 16 yards, so it should be 4x plus 32. Okay, let's go to dear ed here. And, I'm going to be a stickler. Let me show you something with dear ed. If I want to delete these files because I want to put that in parentheses S, I just do D. You see they're red. Then I hit X. Do you want to delete these? I'm going to type yes. Okay, and they're gone. Okay. I should have checked to make sure the algorithm was working. But anyways, let's go back in here. We're going back into our creation file here, and I just want to insert that, and let's just go back here and paste that letter in. Okay, so now we got that in parentheses. Again, open the terminal and run that, create the problems, exit out of that terminal, go back to dear ed, update. We've got those files again. Let's go to the first file, the first org file that's created. We want to say it's changed, so we want to reread it from disk. Yes. Okay. All right. So if the width of the pool is X yards and the length of the pool is 3 yards more than the width, what is the perimeter of the pool? So that should be 4x plus 6. Next one, if you look down, it should be 4x plus 14. Next one should be 4x plus 40. Okay. So let's go to dear ed and let's check out our solutions worksheet. So we have 4x plus 6, 4x plus 14, 4x plus 40. Okay. Awesome. Let's go back here, go back to this file, and let me make this a little bit larger so you can see it. Okay. All right. So now what I'm going to do is I am going to create some of the options that I want to use for this file. Okay. So first thing I'm going to do is do a hashtag and then a plus, and then in all caps options, then colon, and then lowercase TOC for table of contents, nil. Otherwise, it will, when I export it to PDF, it will create a table of contents. So I want that in there. Okay. Next thing, hashtag plus, all caps, author. That's going to be me. So Timothy Unkert. Next one. So hashtag plus, title, all caps. Let's call this SAT pool problems. Pool perimeter problems. Yeah, be specific. Okay. And then what I want to have is, so I have LaTeX installed. So you want to have that. So it's going to be a LaTeX underscore header. And then I'm going to go and I'm just going to type into my search. I'll leave a link to this. This isn't my link. This is someone else's solution to this problem. This is typically what you do when you're a developer. You're going to Stack Overflow, Reddit, those kind of sites. This is Stack Exchange. Okay, so we want to get this stuff in here. Okay, so I'm going to copy that, and then I'm going to paste that in. So we want those, and then we also want this, and after it we want a slash and cfoot. That's going to center the footer, and then I'm going to put something like copyright slash copy. I think that'll work. Timothy Unkert, all rights reserved. Let's put the year. It might not show up. Sometimes it doesn't. I'm still working through that. But anyways, all right. So now we've got our header options. We can also put something like the date in there if we wanted to, but I think this is good for right now. Now that fancy, the package fancy HDR is going to change these to numbers here. And then we have page style with the fancy plain page style. Okay, so now what I want to go down is I want to highlight this stuff. Now, I have evil mode enabled for Emacs, naturally, as it is the Halloween month. But what you can do, if you don't have evil mode enabled, to set a mark, you do Control and then space. Okay, that'll set the mark. And then to go to the bottom of the page, you do Alt-Shift and then the comma and back arrow button. Okay, what I'm going to do, since I have evil mode, which is the Vim key bindings enabled, I'm going to type V to get into visual mode and then Shift G to go to the bottom of the page. Okay, so I've highlighted all this stuff. Now I'll show you in my init.el that what I have for this next command, because I'm going to do Control C and then T, and that's going to open the translator. Okay, so Control C and T, and you see at the bottom here it says translate from. Well, I'm translating from English, okay, and translate from English to, and I'm going to type in Spanish. Okay, now it's going to take a little bit of time to go out and reach, and okay, so now you see there's a file that opened below. So to switch between buffers, when you have a top and a bottom open, just do Control XO to get to the other buffer. Now you look, well, okay, this is all, oh, what's that? Okay, so we went from English to now we have the Spanish version. Okay, so what I'm going to do now to get this into bold, buffer is read only. Oh, okay. So I want to actually copy this. So I'm going to do back into visual mode and Shift G to copy down the Spanish part. I'm going to yank it, which is Y. Now there are other key commands if you're using the default Emacs key bindings. You can do that as well. I'd have to look at those in a moment. I think it's like Alt W, and then to paste Control Y. But anyways, so we're going to go back to this other buffer here. No, I didn't want to do that. Okay. We go back to Deer Ed here. And I'm going to go back to my solutions here. Okay. Hopefully it'll let me do this. Okay. Yeah, it did. Okay, good. All right. So I pasted in there. So with the evil mode enabled, you just paste it in using P, right? So it's just the P button. It's Vim key bindings, okay? So now I'm going to insert here, and I'm going to say this is the Spanish version. I'll do that in bold. So Spanish version, and the way we get bold in an org document is just the asterisk below and the asterisk after, and you'll see it change to bold there. With my in my text editor in Emacs, they know that, well, Emacs is all about, it's all about a lot of things, but one of the key features, the creations of org mode came out of Emacs. Right? So anyways, so that's how we get the bold in org mode. Now I'm going to just do JJ, and then GG to go back to the top of the document. And I also want to do my English version, right? So I have the English version. You see when I put this next asterisk, okay, it gets a little bolder. And then we're going to write it. And so now we've got the Spanish version. If we go down to the bottom, we got the Spanish version. Go to the top, we got the English version. Now we want to put this as a PDF, okay? The way we're going to do that is we are going to, and I may want to put line numbers. We'll see in a moment. The way I'm going to do that is I'm going to do Control-C, Control-E, and it's going to give me this export menu. And then you see if you go down here, you do L and then P. So export to LaTeX as a PDF file. So LP. I'm running it, and it says PDF file produced. There were no errors in the production either. All right, so we'll go to our Linux files, English, Spanish worksheets. Go here. We have our English version of our problems. And then we have our Spanish version. Now the Spanish version, it didn't change the heading numbers, but it does convert it to Spanish. So anyways, that's a formatting thing. I'm going to work on that maybe I'll show you that in a future video. But for the rest of this video, before I finish up, so I would convert the solution worksheet as well. The rest of the video, what I want to talk about is a little bit about my init.el. So let's go back to Dear Ed. And I mentioned was going to talk about this. How did I get the Control-C T to do the translating and the package that you need? So let's go to the init.el. And so we have some basic stuff here. That's just a warning. Inhibit splash screen. This one is to get rid of the welcome screen that you'll get when you first initially install Emacs. This set face attribute is setting the font size. Now notice this has to be changed between 27.2 and the other one that was in the repo, which was 26.1. It's a little bit different. I do have that in my repository on GitHub. Toggle frame maximize, that just means I open full screen. Menu bar mode -1, toolbar mode. So you will have on the top of this Emacs, when you load it up, it's going to be white, and you're going to have it's going to have like all these toolbars and stuff. I like to use the keyboard shortcuts for the most part, and you can just toggle menu mode and that kind of stuff back. So I could toggle the menu back if I wanted to. I don't want to right now though, and I'm just going to toggle it from frame. Okay, scroll bar. There's a scroll bar on the side. I don't really like seeing that. And then, okay, so then we're going to require some stuff here. Someone did make a note that I can just do use package of, and then just bring it in that way. So I've got these packages. You're going to have Melpa or Melpa stable to get these packages. And then this is some code that Emacs actually generates for your theme. Here's my theme. That's Doom Themes. That's the package. So to install packages, what you do is just Alt-X package list packages to update your package list. So let's do that. And it's going to take a moment, especially because I'm recording. But it's going to go out and reach out. So it gets the packages there. And then what we're going to do is package install. So Alt-X, package install, and I'm going to hit enter. And so you see it says install package. Then I can start typing, like, let's say I wanted to install, I don't know, the Abyss theme. So I could do that. So you see this Abyss theme here. I'm just going to type Abyss. And then if I hit a space, it gives me the dash naturally. Abyss theme. I hit enter. Okay, it's installed the Abyss theme. So now I could use that theme if I wanted to. Okay. You can also package delete and get rid of that. And then it updates it. The one that you're going to want to install, and let's go back to my init.el. The one you're going to want to install, if we go down to the bottom, I have a bunch here, is going to be ob-translate. And then when you install that, for me, it installed Google-translate. So you need ob-translate and Google.translate. And then you need this code here, require Google Translate. and then this is how I'm setting the key. Control and then CT is going to give me the Google Translate when I have it highlighted. Now I had to add this defunct Google Translate search TKK with this here. That's what I got off of the interwebs because it was originally throwing an error. When you're using a curl for the backend method, it seems to work. Okay, so you may have to fool with that and search some forums to get it to work. But once you get it to work, I mean, hey, you're creating English and Spanish worksheets. It's pretty cool. I think that's pretty much it for this video. There may be some questions. Leave questions in the comments below. Emacs is a little bit, it has a steep learning curve, I think, but it's definitely worth learning along with Vim. Both Emacs and Vim have steep learning curves, but they have a lot of features that and a lot of additional functionality that you can add to your text editing experience and to creating content. So anyways, I thank you for watching. If you want to support this channel, free ways to support the channel are liking, subscribing, and hitting the bell for notifications, going to my GitHub below, maybe giving me a star on GitHub, or you could go check out some of my stuff on Teacher Pay Teachers. Again, I'll probably push this worksheet to Teacher Pay Teachers later today, and typically I put it up there for like $1. All right, so thanks for watching. Thanks for watching the video. I hope to see you in the next one, and have a great day.